My childhood was during the Depression years, but in our family, my mother and father managed to have plenty of heat and food and clothes on us, and it wasn't until I was an adult I realized what a hard time they were having. My three older sisters had to live at home and go to college right there in Omaha, and I didn't want to do that. So I was able to convince my dad over my mother's objection. It was war years, and out of my graduating class, probably all but 2 or 3 of the young men immediately went into the service. So I wanted to go to a school where there were young men, and so I chose several schools that had military units. And Boulder had a group of enlisted sailors that were there taking avionics and things of that type that they use in the Navy. So I went to Boulder. I met Jean the middle of my freshman year, right after the 1st of January. I was dating this young man, and he suggested that I line up some girls in the house, it's where I lived, and he'd line up some of the young ensigns over at the language school, and we'd all go out for dinner and then to a movie. So the night that this happened, I came down into the living room where we were all meeting, coming down from upstairs, and Marv, the young man I was dating, was there, and he was matching up couples. We had decided prior which ones we were going to put together. And I walked in the room, and Jean walked right across the room, took hold of my arm, and said, "You're my date, aren't you?" And I said, "No, I'm not your date," and introduced him to a young lady by the name of Jean, 2 Jeans together. And about a week later, was a Saturday, and a telephone call came for me, and I went into the little booth where they had the telephone, and he said, "This is Jane Sullivan." He said, "I understand you belong to the hiking club. Do you want to go on the hike next weekend?" And I said, "I don't know, just a minute." And so I went down in the living room where another ensign was talking with one of my roommates, and I said, "Bob, who's this Gene Sullivan?" He says, "Oh, you can go out with him, he's harmless." So we had our first date in the hiking club. And from then on, we were together just about all the time. We got married immediately. My parents were vitally opposed to this because he was Catholic. My family were all Protestants and very strict Protestant. But I said I was going to marry him anyhow, so we went ahead. So I had a complete wedding, white dress, whatever. Jean's parents came from Boston, and I met them for the first time. Then in June, when he graduated, we ended up in Washington, D.C. And he was expecting to be sent overseas.